Good morning, children of class 9. Today we are going to do something very interesting. I am going to introduce you to the greatest English poet, dramatist of the Elizabethan times. Now, today we will do the introduction of Shakespeare, and I think the script has been sent to you about the introduction. You can take it out and follow it in your books. It is just to make you understand the play in a better way. This is Introduction to Shakespeare, the greatest dramatist of all times. Shakespeare was born on April 23rd, 1504 at Stratford-upon-Avon in Warwickshire. His father was John Shakespeare and mother Mary of Arden. John was a successful businessman, that is Shakespeare's father, and Mary belonged to the nobility. Nobility is the upper class. Shakespeare was educated in Stratford Grammar School. Latin and Greek were important subjects. We have some details about Shakespeare's early school days. He did not like to attend school. He was very unwilling to go to school, but still he studied Latin and Greek. Latin and Greek were important subjects. Shakespeare was clever and understood things very easily and quickly. An important event in Shakespeare's life was his marriage to Anne Hathaway in 1582. She was 8 years older than him. So from his experience, Shakespeare says in one of the plays, he makes a comment that always the woman should be younger than the man, not older than the man. That is from Shakespeare's own experience, because he married Anne, who was 8 years older than him. Now the next subheading is London of Shakespeare. London of Shakespeare was exciting and lively, a very interesting place at that time, though not modern, not developed like now. The Great Fire of London in 1660 destroyed all important landmarks. Shakespeare's London was very different from the London of today. There was much open country. Now, because of modern development, there is not much open spaces, because buildings and offices and hospitals and schools and all have come up all over the open countryside. And marshy places, wet, muddy places. Now the next heading is entertainments at the time of Shakespeare. The Shakespeare's time is known as the Elizabethan age or the Shakespearean age, because these two characters were the most important people at that time. Shakespeare was the most important writer, dramatist, and Queen Elizabeth I was on the throne. So, Shakespeare's time is known as the Shakespearean age or the Elizabethan age, because Queen Elizabeth I was on the throne and Shakespeare was the most famous literary figure at that time, that is writing plays, writing poems. The Elizabethans were not refined or cultured in their taste. The people enjoyed a bear tied to a post and attacked by hounds. So, refined means not cultured. They enjoyed all these things. They enjoyed watching cruelty on the stage. They liked it. There was public displays of deformed people. Deformed people who are handicapped, who may not have legs or hands or there was public displays of deformed people, not normal. And men fighting with men and men fighting with animals. Wild animals were let out and men had to fight with them. And the people at that time enjoyed watching all this. and sometimes men had to fight against each other. This was one of the punishments which was given to criminals. Severed heads were a famous sight for them. Severed heads means heads are cut off and then placed on a pole, and then it is shown to the public in order to make them aware that they will be punished for their wrongdoing. Severed heads means cut heads which are cut off, separated from the body. Severed heads were a familiar sight for them. In the play Macbeth, Macduff appears carrying the head of Macbeth. King Lear has the blinding of the eyes of the Earl of Gloucester. Blinding of the eyes means his eyes were destroyed, and people liked watching it. People enjoyed watching it. Heads of criminals were displayed on posts. Criminals, those who should be punished, and their heads were chopped off, and it was put on the poles and shown to the people as a warning. Heads of criminals were displayed on posts as a warning to the people. Death and pain were very common in life. Two important events in connecting with this are the bubonic plague, that is a kind of disease which spread, an epidemic disease which spread very rapidly, just like the coronavirus, from which people all over the world are suffering. And in spite of all the precautions taken, this virus has led to the death of many people, and it has affected many countries, affected the economy of many countries. Similarly, this bubonic plague, PLAGUE, has destroyed many people. Bubonic plague spread regularly, and the theatres had to be closed for some time. Like today, shops are closed and hotels are closed. So at that time, when the bubonic plague spread, the theatres had to be closed. It was an age of violent contrast. Refined and uncultured taste existed side by side with refined and cultured tastes. Contrast, opposite. Unrefined taste means enjoying cruelty, enjoying men fighting with animals, enjoying the sight of deformed people displayed on the stage. Then told you earlier, the bear was tied to a pole, and hounds, big dogs, were attacked the bear. This Shakespeare has made references to this in his plays. People loved music, drama, dance, poetry, and everything beautiful. They liked what was ugly, that is cruelty. They liked also what was beautiful. So it is an age of violent contrast. They were both cultured and uncultured in their taste. Now we come to the variety of Shakespeare's contacts. Shakespeare did not get his education from the classroom or from the school. He got it from life. He mixed with all kinds of people. He understood them. Variety of Shakespeare's contacts. In London, Shakespeare came into contact with various classes and different types of people. The rich, the poor, the beggar, the king, high class, low class, middle class, nobility, all these types of people, Shakespeare knew them. He not only knew them, he understood them. And in all the plays which Shakespeare has written, we find all these types of people. All shades of human feelings, a variety of human characters, all kinds of thoughts which the human mind can experience is found in the men and women of Shakespeare's plays. So just imagine how vast his experience was. All the feelings, anger, jealousy, hatred, in varying degrees of intensity, he knew, and he was able to depict in his plays people with all kinds of feelings, people who had all kinds of thoughts. In fact, we can say every feeling, every thought which is found and expressed in the people in the world is found in the plays of Shakespeare. Shakespeare seemed to have touched the mind and feelings of every human being on the face of the earth. There is realistic interplay of human character and human reactions. That is, one character trying to influence another character, trying to persuade another character. There is realistic interplay of human character and human reactions. Even among friends, you can be influenced by your friends. You can learn many things from your friends. You can be led in the right direction by your friends. So that is interplay of character. One character interacting with another character. Shakespeare learned from life. The reactions, the situations presented in Shakespeare's plays are very realistic because Shakespeare's learning was from life, not from books, from real life. So there is so much of reality in his plays. Shakespeare's audience. People of his time were very familiar with Greek and Roman mythology. Now this Greek and Romans, they have many legends, many stories. Most of it are not true, but they are very important. They are handed down from one generation to the other. And the Elizabethans, the people of Shakespeare's time. Elizabethans are the people of Shakespeare's time. Were very familiar with Greek and Roman mythology. In The Merchant of Venice, which we have to study, we will come across many references to Greek and Roman mythology. And people of Shakespeare's time were very imaginative. They could imagine. So in his plays, you have fairies, goblins, elves and ghosts. In some of the plays, ghosts also come. I think in 8th standard we did Julius Caesar, and we had only a small part of Julius Caesar, but in that play, the ghost of Caesar will come to Brutus. So ghosts will come, and people believed in ghosts. People were able to imagine all these things. There were no curtains and no stage machinery. Just a bare stage. But people were very imaginative. They imagined all these things and it appeared very real to them. There were no curtains at the time of Shakespeare. Shakespeare presented his plays in the Globe Theatre. There were no curtains and no stage machinery. Change of scenes was indicated by a character holding a placard in his hand, and the people immediately travelled from Venice to Belmont. These are the two places which we will come across in Merchant of Venice. Two different places. So there is no stage machinery at all. No curtains. And a character will come on the stage holding a placard showing Venice or Belmont. And the people were immediately transported. They travelled to these places. At the airport, I have seen when people go to visit somebody whom they have not seen, whom they have not known at all, they hold a placard with the name of the person whom they have come to receive at the airport, so that they can be identified that they are the people who have come to welcome him. Characters appeared on the stage carrying branches of trees, and the audience believed that they were in a forest. No forest scene, no curtains showing forest scene. Forest scene, when a forest scene had to be shown, characters came on the stage carrying huge branches of the trees, and people immediately believed that they were in the forest. So that is Shakespeare's audience, very imaginative. All female roles were acted by young boys whose voices had not cracked. Music plays an important part in Shakespeare's plays. Now this all female roles were acted by boys, young boys, whose voices had not cracked. In The Merchant of Venice, Portia, the heroine of the play, the most important character, she wears the disguise of a lawyer in order to try and save Antonio. We'll be doing all that in the play. Music also plays a very important part. When something important, when something significant has to have happened, there is music played. The origin of the English drama. Stories from the Bible were acted on the stage like a dumb show. Later, the actors spoke words and showed actions. That is how the drama developed. Many of you have indulged in this kind of game. Actions are shown and the other side has to guess what these actions are, from which story it is taken, from which cinema it is taken. You have done that kind of play. Later, the actors spoke words and showed actions. The miracles of Jesus Christ were performed on the stage and they were called miracle plays. So that was how the drama developed, the origin of the drama. The first English drama was known as Beowulf and it was written in Anglo-Saxon, which is a little bit different from the present day English. Shakespeare wrote his plays from 1588 to 1612. He wrote about 37 plays. And in that time, in his day when he wrote the plays, he wrote it for presentation. He wrote the plays for presentation on the stage. And after this play was presented, the script was actually thrown away. But it was later somebody else collected it and made it into a book, Shakespeare's plays. Shakespeare's career as a dramatist is divided into 4 stages. The first stage is from 1588 to 1595. The early plays were written at this time. They include comedies like the Shakespeare, The Taming of the Shrew, Midsummer Night's Dream, and historical plays like Henry VI. At that time, the language, he had not developed much in the skill of a dramatist, but these are his first plays, his early plays. Second stage is from 1595 to 1601. The great comedies were written at this time. Comedies like As You Like It, Much Ado About Nothing. Third stage, Shakespeare wrote the great tragedies, Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth. He deals with sorrow and suffering, death and evil in the world. All this finds expression in his plays, in his great tragedies. The sorrow, the suffering which we face, the death and evil in the world is found in the tragedies of Shakespeare. The fourth stage is 1608 to 1612. The tragi-comedies were written. That is, there is a lot of sorrow and happiness for the characters in the play, but none of them die, and in the end, it ends happily for them. Towards the end of the play, all the characters are happy, even though they had to face some sorrow and suffering. So that is why it is known as tragi-comedies, a combination of tragedy and comedy. Plays in this time were The Tempest and Winter's Tale. Now first, so that is the introduction to Shakespeare. Before going on to Shakespeare, you have to know something about the background of Shakespeare. And then you have to study the characters in the play. The characters in the play, you have to become familiar with them. You have to know who they are because they will be coming often in the play. It is usually at the beginning of the play. Characters in the play, the Duke of Venice. Then you have the Prince of Morocco, the Prince of Aragon. They are suitors to Portia. Suitors to Portia means they wanted to marry Portia. Antonio, a rich merchant of Venice. Bassanio, his best friend, and suitor to Portia. Bassanio also wanted to try and marry Portia because Portia is very rich, she is very beautiful, she is very virtuous, good character. Gratiano, another friend of Antonio and Bassanio, he loved Nerissa, who was Nerissa's maid or lady in waiting. Now Nerissa is not like a servant, she is very close to Portia, and she looks after all the personal needs of Portia. And Graciano was in love with Nerissa. Then you have Lorenzo, another friend of both Antonio and Bassanio, in love with Jessica. Jessica is the daughter of Shylock. Leonardo, servant to Bassanio. Then you have three other friends of both Antonio and Bassanio. Salarino, Salanio, Salerio. These are the other friends of Antonio and Bassanio. Shylock, a rich Jew and a money lender. Jessica is his daughter. Tubal, another Jew, Shylock's friend. Lancelot Gobbo, a clown, servant to Shylock. Later he becomes the servant of Bassanio. Old Gobbo is Lancelot's father. Portia is an heiress of Belmont. Her mother is not mentioned at all. Her father is dead, and so she is an heiress, a very wealthy woman. And many people wanted to marry her. Portia, an heiress of Belmont. Nerissa, her lady in waiting. That is her helper. She used to help with all the personal needs of Portia. Since Portia belonged to a very wealthy class, rich class, she had a servant all to herself and almost like a friend, a companion. Nerissa, her lady in waiting. Balthasar, Stefano, servants to Portia. Then you have merchants, officers of the court of justice. You have a court scene here. That is when Portia comes disguised as a lawyer. Jailer, musicians, servants to Portia and other attendants. The action of the play takes place in Venice and in Belmont. Venice is where Antonio, Bassanio and all their friends usually stay. Belmont is the place where Portia lives with her maid. Now you must study these characters and be familiar with these characters. I will repeat once more. Characters in the play: the Duke of Venice, the Prince of Morocco, the Prince of Aragon, suitors to Portia. Antonio, a merchant of Venice. Bassanio, his best friend, suitor to Portia. Graciano, another friend in love with Nerissa. Lorenzo, another friend in love with Jessica. Leonardo, servant to Bassanio. Salarino, Salanio and Salerio are other friends. Shylock, a rich Jew and a money lender. Jessica, his daughter. Tubal, another Jew, Shylock's friend. Lancelot Gobbo, a clown, servant to Shylock. Old Gobbo, Lancelot's father. Portia, an heiress of Belmont. Nerissa, her lady in waiting. Balthasar, Stefano, servants to Portia. Merchants, officers of the court of justice. Jailer, musicians, servants to Portia and other attendants. The action of the play takes place in Venice and in Belmont. So, as I told you before, you get familiar with Shakespeare by reading the introduction and also by get familiar with the characters of the play. These are the characters. So you become familiar with all these names. And after that, we will go on to the play.